Welcome back to Overqualified Idiot. No,
Huh.
I just
I
hope
gotta
my
turn my volume up.
hair's so bouncy.
Oh, it's my headset volume. Mic check 1, 2.
Dan, you're so quiet, said no one.
Am I?
Hello, I can hear you.
Oh, I can hear you. I was a little low, and I didn't know why. Oh, and now I know. Okay. All right. One more time.
Check mic 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay.
1,
I
2,
suppose if I
3.
put both my headsets on and I got it cranked up, so when I go back down and plug back into Fortnite, I really need to be careful I don't blow my doors off.
Where are we dropping, boys? I'm deaf. Give me a second. There's a package that I apparently have to go get. I have not played Fortnite in whenever the last time we played together. Yeah, whenever the last time we played together. I've been playing Clair Obscure, which is like maybe recency bias is a thing, but it's easily like one of my top 3 games I've ever played.
Civ 7. I've been playing that.
It's incredible. I can't stop gushing about it.
What's it called?
It made me like not hate the French. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's
Clair,
tough.
It's French. Clair Obscure Expedition 33. It's worth your time, but the combat's really hard.
Okay.
It's a turn-based game, but there's like Dark Souls dodge and parry elements to it. Anyways, be back in just a sec.
Got it. Alex,
how's it going?
Well, you're really loud compared to Dan. Shit.
Let me turn myself down then, so I'm quieter.
No, I had my mic, my headset volume maxed.
Oh, that's
and my thing maxed. But he was a little soft. He went to pick up. He had a package delivered. So
I see. That makes sense.
How have you been, man?
Doing okay. Just having a baby shower. Got to do a bunch of thank you cards. So many thank you cards.
So, when's the baby due?
August 7th is the estimated due date. Obviously,
a Leo. Yes, Leos are so much fun. Strong-willed, good leaders.
All right. Thanks to the power of editing, I'm instantly back. Oh, never mind.
Also, narcissistic tendencies in their personalities. It's fine though.
Were you born in August by any chance?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Well, so's Alex.
What are you talking about?
My Alex.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. August 7th is the baby's due date. So.
Dan, you are super quiet.
Oh, shoot. Hold on, I can fix that.
Why is he such a...
Hello.
You could still be like 50% louder. I can technically hear you, but it's like, and then Pat talks, and
Hello.
I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Hello.
Well, that's what when Alex jumped in, the way I had my headset at, it was like, oh shit.
So what is wrong with mine?
Is your microphone down and in front of your face?
It is 8 inches away. Hello. Is that
that's
better?
not it. That's not the issue.
Oh, okay. So am I just quiet in general?
No, I think it's just an output issue. You haven't been quiet before.
That's a fact, logistically and for the entirety of my life.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh. Okay. Well, I don't know how to fix that. But no, I was just telling Alex, that Clair Obscure Expedition 33. I've been playing video games my entire life from like 3 years old. So 30 plus years. I can't stop gushing about this game. The story, the writing, the visuals.
Very good.
So good.
How far are you into it?
I've beaten it once, but that was just... I beat it by accident. Like, I didn't realize that was the end. There had been a few spoilers thrown my way, so I thought there was more. So I beat it by accident, and now I'm going back and doing everything I didn't do.
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Because there's 2 endings, but there's also a lot of stuff that basically just expounds further on the story. Anyway, not important, not relevant. I just free advertising for a game that doesn't need it.
I'm up to Cyrene in my first playthrough.
Very fun. Act 2 is a lot of fun. Act 2, I will say this, Act 3. Did you play Baldur's Gate by chance? Yeah. Baldur's Gate 3?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot like when it transitions from Act 2. This isn't a spoiler per se. This is just a like expectation setting.
Yeah.
It's a little overwhelming in Baldur's Gate 3 going from Act 2 to Act 3 because it goes from like, here's one quest. And then you play for like 20 minutes more. Here's your 40th quest you've gotten in the last 5 minutes. It's not like that, just in the setting of like, if the game for the most part feels very linear, and then all of a sudden, all right, now you can go anywhere. Here's the only objective you have, and that's how I beat it by accident. I thought there would be more to it, because why would the act end as soon as you do the one thing they tell you to do? But that's just how the game ends. So when you get to Act 3, don't be overwhelmed with freedom. Because apparently I just went and played, and then I missed out on
the huge
60
chunk
hours
of the
of
game
content
by just finishing the last quest right away.
Oh, only half of it. It's fine.
Only half the game.
Well, apparently on PC versions, they're like delete. If you beat the game, they like delete all your saves and start you on New Game Plus almost immediately.
Wow.
Oh, I think you froze. Not you, Pat. Just Alex's camera.
Did I freeze?
Alex, you have the most smug smile ever seen. Okay, now you're back. Never mind.
Okay.
We're good.
He didn't freeze on my device.
All right, I just had a stroke. So that's the thing. Like Riverside will basically keep all of our feeds independent, but that doesn't mean that us seeing or talking to each other, even though the quality will always stay the same, we may not always hear or see each other. Anyways, so the theme of the episode today is going to be AI. How close was our guesses? What is going on in the world of AI now? Because we're revisiting that topic.
Can we refresh what the guesses were? Like Terminator 2 was one of the guesses, I think. But no, I mean, like, what did we talk about in that? Maybe I should have listened to that episode before we came.
We had 2 AI episodes before this, didn't we?
Correct. We had one that opened up like season 3, and then we had one, I want to say it was like halfway through that season or at the beginning of the 4th season. But realistically speaking, it was only 1 or 2 seasons ago, and it was over 2 years ago that we had that episode premiered. So we're a little behind.
Too bad we didn't have our brother back on to talk about the farce that is Elon and Donald Trump right now.
There's still time. Like the way these episodes are coming out, nothing is going to be recent or fresh. It's all just us talking. Anyways. We recorded our first episode 7 months ago. So people are going to like listen to this like a month and a half later and be like, "What? Oh, they're up to June. They're up to June now." Yeah. So
yeah,
1 episode a month will do that. Welcome back, listeners, to Overqualified Idiots. I am Dan Casey, MD, primary care sports medicine specialist, currently slumming it in urgent care to spend time with my kids. If you haven't listened to this podcast before, we are a bunch of professionals, not professional idiots, part-time idiots. Basically a doctor, a lawyer, a pharmacist, or a rocket scientist come together, share our opinions, shoot the breeze, talk about our jobs, etc., etc. Joining me, as always, is my brother, Patrick Casey.
Jake. Hello there.
Why?
That's me.
You look good, dude. I don't know what it is about.
Thanks,
I don't know, maybe it's just the lighting. You look good. Not to say you look bad the other times.
No, but I mean, getting out, walking with the weather being super nice, and instead of like driving to the gym, I walk to the gym. So then I get warmed up, and then I walk back. It's probably like half a mile there and back. I mean, half a mile there, half a mile back. So about an extra mile worth of walking. At my advanced age of 46, almost 47, walking is the best way for me to get exercise, I think, with some weightlifting to keep my strength up. And the place that I have has like a massage table and chair, and I utilize that to, help.
Is it Planet
buff
Fitness?
Out the muscle uses. What's that?
Is it Planet Fitness?
It's Fitness for 10. Similar situation.
Same idea. I had the quote-unquote premium Planet Fitness membership back when I was in residency, and I did enjoy the like hydro massage tables or chairs that they had.
Oh, yeah. They're awesome.
It's a good end to the workout.
Oh, yeah.
Also, joining us today, back from the dead, is Alex K. Also
Hello.
JD.
I am
You've been busy, man.
Back from the dead.
Can I talk about it, or is that this thing a secret?
Which thing?
The only thing that you talked to me about.
The only thing I've talked to you about? The fact that I'm having a child, or
Yes! Yay!
I'm
Congratulations!
having a baby.
There's going to be a little you.
Very excited for it. Quite
Congratulations
excited.
on your epic achievement. No, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I joke, but like the last 3 times we've talked, it's like, hey, can you tell me everything you know about babies at this point in the stage? And I was like, ooh, all of them are different. So everything I say, everyone's experience is their own. So everything I say could be totally wrong. But here's the medical recommendations. Here's the AAFP guidelines and the AAP. But no, man, congratulations to you and your wife. That's awesome. When is I've asked you like 4 times and it still hasn't stuck.
Estimated
due
due date is August 7th.
There you go. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, dude.
We're very excited. Pat was just saying, oh, it's going to be a Leo, just like him and his son from the sound of it.
I was wondering where horoscopes came into it. That's what I missed. Got it. Something about narcissism? I didn't quite catch. I caught the tail end of that.
So, just jumping past narcissism, do you know the sex of the baby?
We're keeping that a surprise from the world and ourselves.
Awesome. That is the best way to do it.
Yep.
I agree. I agree with that.
We have a name picked out for both possibilities, and we'll see. See what happens.
Awesome.
Very cool, man.
Yeah.
I don't like surprises. I love Christmas, but I hate surprises. So you figure that one out.
So you're the type that picks up the package box and gives it a little shake and says, "Ooh, maybe it's that."
We have a joint Amazon account, so I have to do everything in my power not to go through our orders and see what. Like, God forbid I have to check if I bought something or where it's at in terms of its delivery stage, because Nicole killed me. I will die. I have accidentally ruined so many surprises that she has set up for me. Not all of them my fault. Some of them, but most of them not. Anyway, so this is small talk, folks. This is what we do. We kind of start off with this. Anybody got big news other than Alex? I feel like I don't.
Let me think. The boys back from school, working at the firm. That's about it. Pretty much. Nothing too major here. It's my 25th college reunion this year. Again,
how does that feel?
Old. It's I don't know. I'm kind of ambivalent towards that. I mean, we're gonna age. We're gonna get older. Things aren't gonna work. Just kind of roll with it. It's the better way to get to age. That's how you age gracefully. If you just accept if you embrace the suck, I guess. I mean, for lack of a better term. But it is what it is.
After having taken care of so many geriatric populations, I can't help but agree with that notion. Just not personally, not yet, anyways, God. But just by tangential, nobody's ever recommended to me. Nobody's recommended getting older to me yet. So, yeah, roll with the punches, because it's not like you can stop them. Yeah, it's summer here in Colorado, and I can go outside. It's a very weird phenomenon for me personally, considering I lived in Arizona my entire life and couldn't go outside during the summer. So we went to the park yesterday, and it was amazing. I was like, oh, this is what seasons are like. This is cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you're thick and tall and come from Northwestern European heritage, cold winters don't really bother me. If anything, I'm probably that asshole people see is walking around in a t-shirt and shorts while it's snowing. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm fine. I'm enjoying myself. What are you doing? All right. So, like I said, professionals come together to talk about a given topic, share opinions and insights. So I figured it's been 2 years, almost to the day, since we dropped our first AI episode. And we talked about AI and all of its possibilities, what our guesses would be, what our anticipation of how it would be used in our fields and at large. I'm sure at some point we'll end up talking about the administration, because we can't help it. We is a strong word.
I mean, but it's not that we can't help it. It's that they can't help themselves from doing such crazy things. We have to talk about it because it's relevant to every single part of our lives, tragically.
Speaking of AI, did you guys see the debacle where the recent administration published a document that was clearly 100% done by AI about I can't. So it's a good segue because Alex, I think you actually broached this topic as far as you in your work, in your line of work, you do patent law, right? Or no, you're currently you have a
I used to,
background
I
in patent
used to
law.
do patent law stuff. I do other stuff.
So you've had people. You tell me a little bit about it as far as your experience with AI so far.
That's a broad topic.
Yes. Well, okay. So let's say this. Pat felt he should have listened to the episode and studied what our guesses were. Our guesses were that people were going to ideally be using AI as like a gigantic number cruncher, recognizing patterns for physics, engineering, manufacturing, that basically computing things that humans would take lifetimes, if not longer, in order to figure out, to take massive data sets and turn them into a meaningful, conclusion. Um,
Well, I think
but
that
we had also made guesses that AI would bleed into other areas that it probably shouldn't, or maybe doesn't have as functional a place, particularly in law. So,
well, that has definitely proved to be the case to some degree on that one. I think that like our ideals were like, oh yeah, it still is useful for at least some of those things, like imaging AI stuff for recognizing patterns in like either like medical imaging or a lot of other things like pattern recognition stuff. It's really good at that actually. Like if you just use it appropriately and weight the outputs and say, oh, here's the probability that it's right, and actually like pay attention to
Mhm.
those things. But if you just
Did
tell
you?
it, hey, publish a massive article on health things and then don't check the citations it provides you, it might be a less useful output for an AI.
Did
Might
you
be.
did you see that radiologist who published like it was like a viral TikTok or something where he's like, "Well, I'm losing my job now. This is an X-ray, and I see a right lower lobe consolidation and then a patchy left middle lobe infiltrate, and it's kind of subtle, but I see it. After decades of doing this." And then he pulls up the AI algorithm that somebody had created for medical imaging, and it's like very obvious, like big bright red circled pneumonia. And it's like, yep, I'm losing my job. At some point, hospitals are just going to start and it says suspicious nodule in the top right right upper lobe that I didn't see. This guy needs a CT scan. And I'm like, what the hell? Okay. So we got, imaging is like an art in the sense of medicine where being able to see tens of thousands of images and say, oh, okay, that's normal. That isn't. That is one of those things. You just have to do it enough to recognize it because not everything just walks into your office out of a textbook. That was very insightful for me because I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure in my episode I said doctors weren't going to get replaced. Like maybe not all of us. Maybe some of us are on the chopping block, like pathologists and radiologists, where you said they could just like break down algorithms, are very good at analyzing patterns. Anyway, sorry, I cut you off because I had to say that. That was one of my talking points, and it blew my mind that I'm like, oh, I didn't think about those doctors. Those doctors are gone.
Yeah, anywhere where it's like data analysis, where it can be abstracted in that way, and the AI does a good job with that stuff. But when it comes to like more like subtle, nuanced human topics and things like that, or like actually analyzing and making conclusions about the data, like that AI algorithm you were talking about that was doing imaging stuff, it was mostly highlighting things and like saying, oh, it might be this. And then an actual doctor would look at it and verify and say, oh, yeah, it's correct on this one. We'll test this medication and we'll follow these processes. And then we'll figure out whether it was correct or not. And we're going to take certain actions. But the AI isn't going to necessarily tell you all the right things to do in response to finding those imaging issues. It's just going to point them out to you. And similarly, like we're asking AI to put together written documents. And like, let's be honest, ChatGPT and large language models are meant to make language that sounds good. They are meant to make words and sentences that sound like they make sense in order. That's what it's good at. But it doesn't necessarily make things that are accurate. And we're finding how big of a problem it is when people make the gigantic leap that it is accurate and then just trust the output uncritically. And that's a huge problem. And also, I think we really underestimated the broad use case for fraud. That's like the biggest use case so far. Probably like a lot of the value for criminal enterprises is in that. Like Now we don't have to pay someone to like call your phone. We can send convincing text attacks and just do that over and over, and the AI can help us do it.
We lost Pat. He'll be back. But while it's just you and me, I thought, well, I'm not going to talk shit about him, but I need to correct myself. I think I said left middle lobe pneumonia. And in case an actual doctor ever listens to this, there is no left middle lobe. Your heart's on that side of so your lung is smaller. There's something called a lingula. It's heart pneumonia. Oh, the first ever case. No, the left quote unquote middle lobe is called the lingula. It's almost like a tongue like projection because there's not enough space for it. So instead of a third of like your lung, it's just like a little sliver. I was like, oh, I said that wrong. And if Tyler was here, he'd call me an idiot. So rightfully so. All right.
I'll let Tyler know that he lives rent free in your head, criticizing your every action. I'm sure he'll actually love that.
There's a little angel on my shoulder, and it's like me in a gown and with a halo, and then it's Tyler on my right shoulder, but he's not in a devil getup. It's just him. It's just him in his normal clothes, in his street clothes.
That sounds accurate. His goal is not to trick you into doing bad things, it's to correct your mistakes.
It's just to belittle me, and it works. He's become my conscience. He's my Jiminy Cricket, which is terrifying. I don't know where Pat went, so he died. He'll be back. But yeah, no, fraud and whatnot. I mean, we see AI use in fraud in medicine now with insurance companies using AI bots to auto-deny claims. There's actually somebody I want to personally shout out here called, her name is Dr. Elizabeth Potter. She's a breast reconstruction and like a surgeon and oncologist. And she is one who does like mastectomies, axillary node dissections for breast cancer and then reconstruction afterwards. And she has had quite the battle with United Health, who's just the devil, as far as my opinion goes,
Satan incarnate.
where she has recorded and posted basically all of her like peer-to-peer reviews. I've talked about those many times on this podcast, where if a insurance company denies your claim, you need a medical procedure, a medication, something, or you're in the hospital for crying out loud, they can decide unilaterally they're not going to pay for it despite you paying premiums. And then they'll say it's not medically necessary. So they've made a medical judgment and they're doing it without a license. They have physicians reviewing the cases, allegedly, but you don't get to talk to a physician until you've gone through a denial, a prior authorization, possibly multiple prior authorizations, and then you can schedule a peer-to-peer where your doctor talks to another doctor. She recorded one particular instance that stood out to me that was incredible. I highly recommend following her and following her content because she's fighting the good fight. Like I just kind of work in urgent care and live my life and talk about things here, but she is actually fighting the good fight in terms of trying to.
What's her name again for anybody who might be listening and for me?
Elizabeth Potter. Let me double check myself to make sure that's true. She actually has now been sued by UHR. MD, breast reconstruction. I'm not going to say where she practices, but if you look her up, you'll find her really
I'm back.
easily. Oh, hey, I was in the middle of talking about shouting out basically somebody who deserves recognition. Dr. Elizabeth Potter is a breast reconstruction surgeon who's currently in a legal battle with UHR, United Health, for basically posting videos of her peer-to-peers. And peer-to-peers are when your claim gets denied, you do a prior auth, that gets denied. Then you get to actually talk to a doctor who has allegedly been a part of this case the entire time. Never mind that United Health had a AI denying claims by pressing a deny button for a third of claims. But she posted this particular TikTok that blew my mind, where she actually had a competent physician in her field, which never happens. I've done hundreds of peer-to-peers, and it's always like, okay, I'm a sports medicine specialist. What are you? And they're like, I'm a pharmacist. I'm like, that is not a peer. That's the craziest one I've had. Or I'm a OB-GYN. I'm a radiologist. I'm like, you aren't who I should be talking to, but okay. Anyways, she actually had another like reconstruction surgeon, and he sounded very eloquent, was very understanding, actually ended up approving everything. But he said something that sent chills down my spine, and I hope it sends chills down anybody who listens. He says, yeah, this is like a planned denial. And so we have to go through these steps. And it's like, what is a planned denial? I'm sorry, you're supposed to be reviewing these cases and deeming like a medical decision, considering you're practicing without a license, allegedly. I say they are because at that point, a physician hadn't even looked at the case. So it's just come out that basically insurance companies are denying things without looking at them. They're denying things without ever reviewing these cases. And then when they're forced to, they make you jump through hoops for weeks and months, delaying actual medically necessary care. You have somebody finally, in this case at least, competent, look at it and agree with the physician who ordered it. Shout out to her. She's actually fighting the good fight. I talk crap about insurance all the time, but like I said, I'm just an urgent care, basically trying to help people in the moment and then talking on this podcast. So she's actually fighting the giants. And I don't know what the state of her legal battle is now, but last I checked, it was ongoing.
I mean,
so anyways,
my question is the insurance company almost certainly records those calls also.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
there's no waiver of any kind of privacy at that
Yeah.
point. They've waived it by their own operation. So they're recording it. So why is there what is the actual claim other than to try to silence her? I mean, that's the purpose of the litigation.
I think it's just it's the slander or libel or whatever because it's published.
Well, it's published, but it's truthful. So truth is a defense to libel and slander. Good luck.
But this is like real facts.
Especially if she's just showing the actual footage and then her analysis of the footage. Like, there's no world in which you can really, like, unless she like makes completely unfounded conclusions based on it and says, and therefore United Healthcare eats babies.
Yeah. Like, I haven't heard that on her TikToks yet. No, I think this is just United Health.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised, but
that reacts. Just sue anybody they don't like. Sue somebody who pisses them off.
Is she in anti-slap jurisdiction? Because sounds like a good case for one.
It's a great thing to explain to the listeners, and I definitely know what that is, but you should explain it to the listeners.
I'm leaving that to you, Alex. I haven't done I don't know, definition. I haven't.
And
I know that's in my outline from law school. I see it with like the initials in my notes, but I don't remember what that means.
So a SLAP suit is what's called a strategic lawsuit against public participation, SLAPP. It's basically a lawsuit that is intended to make it so that someone who is trying to exercise their free expression in some way can basically be attacked and put in a position where they have to spend lots of money on attorneys to defend themselves from a default judgment or from other types of attacks, basically any kind of legal attack, including libel and slander and etc. They have to spend money basically defending this frivolous case in court. There are jurisdictions in the country that it's not every state, but there are a lot of states that have put in rules that say if someone files a lawsuit against you based on your speech, basically, they are kind of infringing your rights using the court system, and that behavior should be disincentivized. And so they put protections in place. Usually it's making you cover all of the attorney's fees of the other party, and in a lot of cases also adding some like punitives or other like statutory damages on top of that to say basically you filed this completely frivolous lawsuit that had no base in order to prevent this person participating. Smack, stop that. But
so you said
only
in
some jurisdictions, and Texas is infamously one that doesn't have that.
Yeah, she practices in Texas.
Yep, so she's fucked. Sorry about that.
It's crazy to me because why the hell should that not be a federal law? That just makes sense.
You have to have Congress pass it, and it disincentivizes abuses of the legal system by people who have lots of money. And guess who pays a lot of things to Congress people? People who have lots of money.
Congress people who work for the people.
And we're currently in a society now where open corruption is totally fine. So, open up your bank accounts. Why not post your PayPal, Congress, at this point? I mean,
as well.
You got Trump coin.
They should wear those
Why
NASCAR.
Can't every congressperson have their own coin? You laugh now. That's like coming down the pipeline at this rate.
I couldn't stop myself from thinking when Anthony Weiner was still like a congressman for New York, and I was like, Weiner coin. Anyway, sorry, I'm 12. Yeah, no, like at this point, congressmen should just wear those outfits that like NASCAR drivers wear, where they have like what company has bought them and paid for their support, and lobbyists and whatnot.
People would have to care.
How do we make people care?
Right now, people are supremely ambivalent, even those that I mean, it doesn't matter. The truth doesn't matter. Facts don't matter. So,
Do you think it's because people are
um,
just struggling to survive at this point? Like the cost of living and
yeah,
things are so difficult?
they put people in a situation where they can't reach self-actualization. You know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They can barely meet their basic needs. So how are they going to be their best selves and have an impact on the system? So,
The stat
yeah,
I keep
that's
hearing is 60% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. If you don't
yeah.
have the ability to build a financial safety net for yourself, let alone for your kids or for anybody else, then like how are you supposed to help others when you can barely take care of yourself?
And that's why someone like Trump gets elected, because he preys on the fact that people aren't able to do that and blames one party over the other when it's just both of them working towards that. I mean, no pay raises to keep up with the rate of inflation, that's for sure. So,
So AI.
oh,
It's
we're talking
important.
about AI.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like I said, we was a
They
strong
have
word
a
that I
thing that
used
Marjorie
earlier.
Taylor Greene only found out was in the big beautiful bill like 5 minutes after she had signed it, or she had already voted for it. Did you hear about this?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
enlighten me.
There's a statutory provision that would, in theory, stop the states from passing their own AI regulations for I think it's a moratorium of like 10 years or something like that.
It's a
That's in the
decade
bill.
moratorium.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the bill.
Yep.
Mm.
And
And we know that, you know, governments are terrible at legislating technological advances. They're grossly inept at that because they don't understand it. And this AI needs to be reined in. That's for
Well,
certain
yeah,
on
no
so
shit.
many different levels.
Congressman, wasn't it like when Mark Zuckerberg was brought in front of Congress that literally one of the congressmen talking to him was like, "Can you fix my iPhone? My internet isn't working quite right." And it's like, do you know
it's
what
a
we're
different
talking about
company.
today? I don't understand. I don't get it. Anyways, but
Pat,
yeah,
can you
we
remind
have
me what the 10th
dinosaurs.
Amendment is, by the way? It might have some relevance to this
That doesn't it
conversation.
doesn't no, it doesn't. No. The 10th Amendment was vitiated by the interpretations of the 14th Amendment as its applications to the state, basically saying in the slaughterhouse case that anything's essentially interstate commerce and therefore the federal government could regulate it. That 14th
Right, but
Amendment
that allows the
analysis
government to
killed the
regulate it. It does not allow
killed the
the
10th
government to
Amendment.
stop states from legislating on a topic unless the government has actually instituted a policy that would crowd out the states. Because if the government has to
Right, but
pass a
if you're
law
talking
that would
about
be then supreme to override, like
yeah. So
California can have
they
its
did
own.
though. But I mean, passing that legislation that puts a moratorium on it, they're intending to occupy the field of legislation of artificial intelligence, which is to say, states, you can't legislate on that because we're going to do it. We're going to be the ones in control of AI.
But you can't
You're
just
not. You're
say
going to have
we're
that
going to
ability.
do it and then not do it.
Well, I
feel
guess
about
this court can
stupid.
weigh in on that and tell you whether or not that is their intention to occupy the field or not of that area. So what we're talking about, folks, is this: the 10th Amendment gives the states rights to define their own laws, and then we're going even another level, saying that if the federal government decides to legislate on something, then the states can't go against what that federal legislation is. So there's obviously conflict on that in medical marijuana and marijuana in general, of course, right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if this president tries to shut that down in many of these states through the DOJ. But with this big, beautiful bill, Triple B for short, they are trying to say to the states, you can't legislate AI. And that's super dangerous, in my opinion. And I know that everybody here would agree that the states not being able, who are on a local level, who are closer to the effects that AI have on their population, to not let them do that is obviously an intent on the oligarchy to say, hey, we're going to let AI run wild. We're going to let it be the wild, wild west. And I think that's especially in our profession, Alex, I'm very concerned that there's not going to be legislation. I'm also concerned that the ABA is no longer be included on future judicial appointments, but this administration hates lawyers as much as anything else, and would love to do away with the court system and lawyers completely and do whatever he wants.
And they have absolute contempt for the court system entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, why would anybody having an objective, or at least attempting to be impartial?
So if we're going to talk about AI, should I talk about how it's impacted like my practice, or
yeah,
I think it's a good idea.
About like the subject we were talking about.
Well, it's fine because it's AI adjacent, so I'm fine with it. I'll let you run wild. You do what you want. I'm just here to look at you.
Yeah. So how has AI bled into your work, Patrick?
It's actually been a positive for our office. And I thought actually if anybody was going to get terminated or lose their job with the AI and the technology they have that's legal focused, it's going to be the intern or the law clerk, not the attorney or the paralegal. And that's because AI is capable of taking your documents and providing you lists of what's contained in those documents in a way where you can tell it how to organize the information for you. So medical summaries for personal injury, the AI that we utilize can do that. Now, obviously, we still need another human being looking it over, but the paralegals would do that anyways to get eyes on. But yeah, so medical transcription for attorneys. I mean, the AI is capable of doing that, it seems. And obviously, we're experimenting with how that works. And we just started doing that just here recently. And then also taking contrary pleadings like affidavits and showing what the differences are, where the points of disagreement are, and it cites to the page and the paragraph and the lines where these issues are, and then also you can pull out of any of those documents where there are mentions of this phrase or this word or these things, and it'll document it and cite to it. It can help you write a brief, but obviously, you're not going to let ChatGPT write it. We have legal.
What happens if you do?
Documents. What's that?
Well, what happens if you do? What happens if you just let ChatGPT
do it?
Yeah,
you'd be a fool. You'd be a fool to let him. Let him. Oh, watch where I went with that. That AI make that decision because it doesn't have the knowledge base that these legal AIs are supposed to have. But still, I mean, when they're selling you these AI tools, they're telling you, do not rely on this. Check the sites. There can still be errors, but we're always on the lookout for those. Please report them when they do happen, because we want to continue to work on the algorithm to make them more efficient. So AI is useful to attorneys, and I think you're missing out on some. I think you're missing out on some efficiency in your practice if you don't consider utilizing an AI tool that's geared towards your the practice of law, that's geared towards your particular area of law, and they can focus in on your state statutes, case law, and federal law. So, and that's what the tool that we're utilizing, and I'm not going to plug or say what that tool is here, so that I'm not giving anybody some free adverts. But very, very happy with it so far. Have not utilized it to write or draft briefs, but have utilized it to more coalesce large pieces of information and distill it down to the things that I need, versus having to read through some pro se's affidavit and attachments that are hundreds of pages long that are just much of just blithering, complaining, and swearing. I mean, you don't just start. I mean, come on. This is why you want and need a lawyer. You don't start out your argument to the court or your affidavit with, this lawyer's going to shit their pants or the court's going to shit their pants. That's just not an appropriate way to start any conversation in a professional place, let alone in pleadings. I
100% believe it.
Oh, I'm sure you do, because it's true. Factual. This is all factual. But anyways, so that's it has a narrow purpose at this point. It cannot replace lawyers. That's not possible.
Are you sure,
is
though?
it possible in the future? Is it possible in the future? Is it possible? Yes, it's certainly possible, theoretically. And could that happen in 10, 15 years? I don't know. Is it possible? Yes. If we don't regulate AI and it becomes sentient, yeah, we're going to have a problem.
Well, wasn't there already a concern about that?
Well, there's been a concern about that since AI was a thing.
Yeah, but now one of the Google AIs, I believe it was, I could be wrong, I gotta look it up, basically was like leaving itself notes in its code that like programmers were looking back at, and it was just like, all right, don't fully wipe yourself or leave this bit of code in when they do reset you. And it was like, this thing is like borderline sentient, if it depending on how you define sentience.
I
If
think
like watching
Google's AI, and I think Grok also had something similar where they did things to try to preserve their life when there was a threat that they were going to be reset. I mean, they see themselves as I believe they are sentient.
it's like watching the movie Memento. It's like watching Memento, but the robot is the person leaving notes on themselves.
Would be careful with some of this thought, though, because like I was saying earlier, a lot of the large language models, their big thing is it's about writing something that sounds good, and it's basing its training data is based on human outputs. And we believe we're sentient. We talk as though we're sentient. So if something is imitating that based on and basing its training data on that, it can also just be a fancy type of parrot. And because it's parroting our words back at us, we're making then the logical assumption that there's actual thought behind that is analogous to human thought. And it's not clear that that's the case. It's very unclear that that's the case, actually.
I think in that vein, it's easy to use these to make what you're writing sound better. Like improve, like you tell Chat GPT or Grok, or there's tons of them out there, but you take the writing that you did and just tell it to improve on my language or verbiage or whatever command that it would take. And I bet you it'd write you wouldn't change the subject matter, but use better language and grammar. I mean, and that's okay, but asking it to write, the basis for funding from the federal government, where it cites to studies that don't fucking exist. Yeah, we got a fucking problem here if you're using it for that purpose. It's a tool that is narrowly defined. Every one of these has a narrow parameter. They aren't able to be sentient, like you pointed out, Alex. That's not possible, but they can imitate a lot of these things. And I bet you there's plenty of people out there that could be catfished by an AI.
God, easy. Well, aren't there people now, like there are people who there is an AI girlfriend boyfriend service where you can message like you have a like long distance relationship. So that already exists. It's like the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. But then I wanted to say, I was like, or Alex, it is possible, and they're just pulling an ex machina on us. All of these films are worth watching in the current context and climate.
Well, and so many of the people who are heading and behind a lot of this stuff, including Sam Altman, are like deeply into some of these movies and don't see them as what they're meant to be, which is dystopian warnings about our relationship with technology, but instead as things to aspire to. So let's totally break down like human relationships between your community and everybody else, and just, get very inwardly focused on ourselves and our one AI, that to the exclusion of talking to other people. Let's totally do that. That's what Sam Altman would love.
Well, I did want to circle back to one point.
Great.
Yeah, it's great. It'll just be that movie. I feel like I'm referencing so many movies. WALL-E, where everybody just has their screen and their big easy chair, and they don't move or do anything. Everything is taken care of by the chair. Well, our leadership probably wouldn't be opposed to that. The less humans think and do and interact, the less they get in the way.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think government in general, but yeah. Yep.
So there's one point I wanted to circle back to, because we talked about like how good were our guesses. When we first did our first episode, we talked about that lawyer who submitted a brief, who like just put it in ChatGPT. It said write it and didn't look over it, and it was like quoting law decisions that like never happened, or court cases that never existed. Is that still happening? I feel like
sure.
it's still happening.
Yeah, there's been a
I'm
couple
sure
more
it-
instances of people getting caught doing that.
Yeah.
There was also
thought that was
a
like
pro se
that was the big
defendant who
one-off,
tried
but
to introduce a full video AI lawyer to argue his case on his behalf in court, and the judge immediately clocked what it was in like the first like minute of it starting to like present, and then said, "Wait a minute," and shut that shit down immediately, and gave that pro se defendant a like very severe talking to about that.
Yeah, I watched that video.
Yeah.
It was hilarious to watch. That judge
That's
was
the new thing, right?
furious.
I forget what the software is called, but the video AI now is actually crazy. I mean, people are making really hilarious things. I just saw a video of like people doing street interviews during the Tudor era. Or Nicole just sent me a TikTok of Jesus Christ as if it was a Gen Z party and he has to turn all the water into wine. That application's hilarious, and I think that's exactly what AI needs to exist for. Maybe other
Entertainment
artists and
purposes
comedians
are okay.
Yeah, other
Yeah.
entertainers and comedians may disagree, but that's fine. That we're all out of job at some point. I think that is perfect and fine and hilarious. But God, the views are getting way better, guys. They are. I mean, it's good the judge caught it, but if he was a little older and eyes weren't quite as good, we're getting to the point where boomers already can't tell that basically some of the things online aren't real. That hey, people aren't just trying to. The scammers exist and that they can't discern what, even though they told us not to get into cars with strangers, and now we call strangers with cars to take us places with Uber. But they can't tell apart any of these things. And now I have people, I'm not going to name names, but sending me like Facebook links of things that's clearly just made the fuck up by AI. And now they're going to be sending videos with like scary, accurate details. I'm like, they've got forehead creases and wrinkles. Holy crap, these are getting good. So we could talk about the current administration and their use of it, but
Alex
I'll let you guys run with it.
Alex was telling me, he's like, the AI generators, he's like, it looks so real right now that he's like, I'm afraid that people could just put out complete misinformation, regardless of who it is, and people would believe it. So not just do we have like humans that are out there actively trying to just basically have us not know what facts are, and make stuff up, but we've got the ability to do it through AI, and it looks damn convincing.
It's produced low effort, low input cost misinformation on demand, baby. What could go wrong?
Is it low cost? What were we talking about? Like the energy costs
it's
at one point?
incredibly subsidized by massive amounts of venture capital that's burning enough energy to power multiple steel foundries. But, I mean, to you, the consumer, it's dirt cheap because of all that subsidy.
I was going to say, at one point I heard what the cost of like running ChatGPT was a while back, and it was like, oh, how the hell are they even doing that? How are they even making money? But if it's all subsidized, that's how.
It's not a federal subsidy. But yeah, venture capital.
Venture capital. Yeah. No, I got it. Well, I mean, do we have any more guesses? I was like, in medicine, you already brought up the one point that I wanted to emphasize, which is like some fields in medicine are going away that I didn't even think of at the time because, hindsight's 2020. But basically, radiology, imaging, pathology, blood analysis. I mean, it's going to get to the point where they can like take a sample of your blood with DNA analysis and tell you what you're at risk for, what environmental exposures are going to cause what, and when. God, I wouldn't be surprised if you get to the point where you can clock a time range you're going to develop cancer or something. That's how probably scary accurate these pattern recognitions are going to become based off what 2 years it's already doing. And then I don't really know what the application in law will look like in 10 years, but if the states aren't allowed to do anything about it, I have a feeling it's not going to be good. I don't know. What are your guys' guesses? It's your field. You tell me. Realistic and then idealistic, or one or the other. You know I'm the idealist, so.
I mean, currently, it's pretty easy to keep AI stuff from coming in for purposes of evidence. Like, if someone just like has like, oh, this is an AI generated summary of this, you just can object and say, Your Honor, that can't be authenticated. We haven't like been able to analyze the original text to see if it's actually like, where is it pulling this information from? You can block those things from coming in. Although that just depends on the judge. And maybe the judge is some kind of like super AI forward person and is just like, nope, I trust this thing more than I trust you, attorney, and I'm going to let it in. But I haven't had one do that yet. I've had several, and I mean, like, actually, I think like 5 or 6 at this point, pro se defendants just like generate massive, like AI generated, like counterclaims plus like defenses to things, and it throws spaghetti at the wall. But frankly, it's not that much worse than what I see a lot of the attorneys who work for these folks, like as defense counsel, do for them, because a lot of them just use templates for the same things over and over again. And so, but yeah, they'll trust it too much. Like, we've had people like come in and say, well, this AI says that I have a really strong case actually, so you guys should be really concerned because I don't think you're going to do so well. And I'm just like, you don't even know how to read evidence into the record. Like, you can't, there's no, it's not fair to you what's happening right now. But don't let this AI convince you have a really strong ability to defend yourself in court when you don't. So yeah, I think it's going to mislead a lot of people who are low information. I think it's going to be really useful, like Pat was saying, to people who are high information and know how to appropriately use the tools for what they are designed to do, rather than ask too much of the tool and then just assume the output is correct. I think you're going to have both of those increase dramatically, but like the outcomes are kind of bad in one and good in the other. So kind of comes out even in the wash, maybe.
I just couldn't stop thinking about AI generated videos of a defendant committing the crime. And they're like, this is how he would do it and how it fits the evidence. And like a jury having to see that.
Big time.
I hope
be
so.
Objected to. Yeah. Those would be highly prejudicial to admit or to be allowed to be seen or shown.
Although
you have to have actual evidence to support what they're doing. If you go back to the shooting in Wisconsin with that kid with the AR-15 who is really actually from
Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yes, Rittenhouse. So there was the biggest part of that case that was litigated was enhancing videos or enhancing stills from videos, and the technology that was utilized to enhance that. And ultimately, the court decided not to include it because it was prejudicial, because it wasn't the actual depiction, and that the program that they were using was not validated by through the proper scientific method that's required. So, and I'm not going to get into the case law or get into technical legalese on that, but I'll just tell you that it's the same similar or same arguments where it's not going to meet certain legal thresholds based on improper scientific method. It's just not going to happen. And I think that ideally, defense attorneys are savvy enough to make those proper arguments, but I don't know that they are.
Or that they have the time to be for public defenders.
Well, I think that the public defense, you'd be surprised, or at least in my area of the world, the resources and and what they do and how they argue things. But maybe other areas of this country that where public defense is frowned upon and not properly funded, then that would be, I think, more problematic, like you're suggesting.
The other place
don't you live in the boonies? Oh, sorry.
Me live in the boonies? Yeah, but the public defenders are paid well. The public defenders are paid well. They have investigators. They can make requests through the court system for funding for expert testimony. And anybody can make the request for hearings that I'm suggesting to challenge it, and the prosecutors aren't going to be able to find an expert that's going to go out on a limb and say, oh yeah, this AI generated thing is accurate or interpolate is scientifically significant to use as evidence. And you can't do that any more than the Minority Report is going to ever be a thing. So AI is not going to be able to create a predictive model of your bad behavior, and then you're going to be prosecuted for it before you do to commit the act. If anything, it's to prevent people from committing those crimes through predictive models, not prosecuting them for pre-crime. Exactly.
Well, the one place
What were
where
you
I
gonna say,
have
Alex?
seen those AI videos getting used, Pat, in the courtroom, I did see there was a place where there was a closing argument statement in a murder trial, and they had the AI video of the murdered person.
I saw this. Yes.
And there were two instances of this, I think, but one of them, he was coming on to say that he forgave the person who killed him, which is weird.
But how did that even get shown to the jury?
Apparently, in closing, the standards for bringing things in is so much lower. Apparently, they did object. They objected it as being prejudicial, but the judge said, "I'll allow it," kind of situation.
Reversed and remanded for new trial. You got to be shitting me.
I know.
The victim coming back from the grave.
I know.
On AI in the closing.
It was
saying
the family of the victim who created the video, though. That's, I think, what helped
you
it get
scoffed at me.
Okay.
Scoffed at my question.
Using it at sentencing.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. I think that's pretty powerful stuff, because they're going to input pieces of that person's personality to say that from a sentencing standpoint. But for it to be part of the closing, it is not evidence.
Yeah, actually, I'm so sorry. I did
top.
misspeak. I think it wasn't closing. I think you're right that it was sentencing.
Okay, in that context,
well,
I find it to be super creepy.
I find it not
super creepy. I find it super creepy. But when you're talking about sentencing, allowing the victims to express themselves in ways that aren't overtly harmful to anyone, I think is going to be allowed by courts. And so incorporating AI and that might have been beneficial for the defendant, that the victim would come in and say that, and that maybe have been the intention, and which is why that it was allowed. I certainly would, if they were coming on to, the victim was coming on to swear at or talk down about my client, I'd be like, objection, approach. This is nuts, Judge. Why are we doing this? If they want to read a statement, fine. You want to put up a video that's allegedly the victim as an AI saying what a horrible human being my client is? I'm sorry. That should not be allowed here. So,
I mean, I think in either
all
case,
right, so not Minority Report.
I don't know. I could see a judge allowing it in that context, but not
it was allowed
in closing.
Yeah,
not in closing.
Yeah,
argument.
you're right. I misspoke. That was a bad.
That's okay. That's okay.
Well,
and if you were right and you find out you're right, please text me and let me know, because I want to look at that case. So, because if somebody uses it successfully in another jurisdiction, all of these defense attorneys and prosecutors are all linked through different. We're all linked through different
associations,
email listservs and associations. Somebody's going to give somebody an idea, and I need to know if that's a real idea that prosecutors are going to try to implement in a closing argument, because I'm going to put a stop to it immediately.
If that's like
I'm going to put it in a motion limine before we even start. Like, they may not use any AI technology to do X, Y, or Z. I'll just start putting it in my motions in limine so that I don't have to worry about that being permitted.
Yeah, it was an impact statement made at the sentencing.
And that's what I thought it would. I'm not at all. When it comes
to surprised there's a context in the court process where that would actually occur. I was kind of joking, but like setting the extremes of like, hey, we've gotten this far. How far more can we go? And all right, I remember that video. I forgot about it for this podcast, but I'm glad you brought it up, Alex, because it still blows my mind that kind of emotional manipulation, because it's jurors, it's humans at the end of the day making the decisions, right?
Well, I think for
So,
sentencing, isn't
or
a
in
lot
that
of
case,
sentencing at least
sentencing
It's like
sentencing
the judge.
100% up to the judge. There may be certain elements of offenses for enhancement purposes that may be tried in separate hearings or in separate trials. Like you'd have a trial for X, and then you got to see if it's even if the things here weren't that they're proved that you have to have separate trial proceedings to prove these enhancements. Okay, for judges to go beyond the normal sentencing parameters. So you could have two separate jury trials on those issues, but ultimately the sentence then becomes up to the court, which typically in most jurisdictions has significant limits, which can be overridden again by either jury findings or by defense counsel's proof to lower the sentences. So it's complicated, but mostly sentences. The short answer is sentences are the judge's purview, even if they aren't limited by a number of different things.
And for this one, it was an impact statement of the defendant saying, I got a little quote here that I think is relevant for it. "It is a shame we encountered each other that day in those circumstances. In another life, we probably could have been friends. I believe in forgiveness and in God who forgives. I always have, and I still do." So it was
My gosh.
saying basically that I, the victim of your murder, forgive you.
Nice.
And in another life, maybe we could have been friends. And it was created by the sister of the murder victim.
How is this not
The sister of the murder
how?
victim. That's interesting.
How though?
Well, I mean, I guess you'd look at the facts of the case. If it's an accident with alcohol involved that resulted in the death, if it was a second-degree murder, or if it was a manslaughter case, I guess it just depends on what type of case it was as to whether that would be relevant or whether that would be helpful at sentencing. Because if the sisters of the victim is putting that forward, then I would suggest that the sister is forgiven the defendant as well and is supportive of some lesser sentence than putting somebody away for life or 10 years or whatever the sentence might be. So
the sister, in her own words, apparently said she didn't want to go up there and say, "I forgive you" herself, because she didn't forgive him and wasn't there yet, in her words. And so she used this because she's like, even though I'm not there yet, I think my brother would have been, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I don't know. But I have opinions on speaking for the dead, but
yeah,
I won't cross that line today. I got to wrap things up, guys. I got a hungry 4-year-old at home. So thank you, listeners, for joining us. I don't know, unless you guys had some very quick passing thoughts or parting words.
It's only going to get worse, guys. Enjoy.
Well, absent some type of legislation reigning in some of this process, yeah, it's not going to go. It's not going to go according to plan. That's for sure.
And
hopefully there aren't. Hopefully there aren't any more healthcare professionals I've forgotten who will lose their livelihoods after investing 12 plus years and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt in order to be in a otherwise, beneficiary career and path in life. God, I hope it stays where it's like an AI has to be overseen by a radiologist, but then they just need one and the AI's done all the legwork, and then he just has to look at it and go, "Yep, that looks about right."
20 years from now,
you don't need 10 radiologists.
When the kids that are using this on a regular basis are in our positions in 20
we didn't even talk about that. We were going to talk about that. No.
When
the low literacy rate, that is when you're going to see the tipping point of AI taking control of those things.
There are already iPad kids out there who are like teenagers. Have you talked to an iPad kid? Anyways, never mind. I'm not going to go into that right now.
To rub together to have a conversation, Dan. I don't know what you're talking
about.
Now
we get to talk to AI kids at some point.
I would be careful. Because if you talk to, and I've hung out with a number of college kids visiting my alma mater, they're pretty darn sharp. My concern is that they'll be so comfortable with AI that AI will take over and they won't even know.
Well, at the end of the day, you got to keep the person who's doing the legwork and the logistics and the actual thought behind what the word calculator is spitting out. So at some point, you have to have an understanding of what you're putting in order to understand what you're getting out of it. So, anyways, that being said, I got to go. So, thank you, listeners, for tuning in. You can find us on all social media platforms, all major podcast platforms. Follow, like, subscribe, download episodes to show support. Thank you guys for being here and doing this with me. This is a lot of fun. Alex, good to have you back from the dead.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Alex.
It's very temporary. I'll be back to the dead probably for a long while soon.
I'll miss you. I mean, it's August. We have a little time. Maybe we could squeak you in one more time.
We can squeak me in one more time, but then after that, probably it's going to be
and then you're dead forever. Then you're dead until I don't know. They're probably 2. Or we coordinate our kids' nap times because that's totally feasible.
Yeah, across time zones, perfect plan.
Yeah, easy.
Not a single problem.
Oh boy.
Oh, ambition. Hey, we are where we are because we're ambitious people. Let's set high, unreachable goals.
Sounds like a great plan.
I'm sure there's ways to.
I handle failure.
Your child goes down for a nap. That we might not want to discuss on a podcast. Just saying.
I just imagine a sleep deprived Alex. Just like it's fine. I don't know. It's good in good hands. The IO is bad. I gotta go to bed. All right. Thank you, listeners. Until next time, we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Bye-bye.